My name is Michael Cross. I work for the New York State Department of Transportation. My current position is a Civil Engineer 1. The New York State Department of Transportation has several levels of civil engineer. I'm Civil Engineer 1. I work in the Office of Structures and Bridges. We focus on small and large bridges. We do complete bridge replacement, and we also do bridge rehabilitation. In my position, I prepare project designs and specifications as they relate to bridge design and construction. I also develop cost estimates for the overall projected capital designs. That's my position, and that's my job. One of the things I've always had an interest in is history. I've had a passion for history and architecture. As a kid, I loved to draw. My parents didn't teach me. I'm self-taught. I grew up drawing towns and cities, which included roadways and bridges, buildings, and skyscrapers. All the details, and I would show my parents. And I remember my uncle was an engineer. He had shown me some blueprints, which I looked at and then quickly dismissed. And I kept on drawing. I was first a student at Gallaudet University, and I wanted to major in history. As a student, I asked about future job opportunities in the field of history. I was told that there were jobs, but not many. And I had decided I didn't want to go to college and graduate with a degree in a field which I couldn't find a job in upon graduation. So I rethought my major. I remembered my love for drawing, and I thought about architecture. Gallaudet, however, didn't have an architecture program, but the University of Maryland at College Park did. Gallaudet and the University of Maryland had an articulation agreement to take courses on both campuses. I took their pre-architecture courses at the University of Maryland. After one semester there, I decided that the major there was too competitive. I was just not the right type of person who thrives creatively under the pressure of competition. So again, I rethought my options, and I remembered that NTID had a variety of drawing and illustration and architecture type majors. So I withdrew from Gallaudet and went straight to NTID. The academic counselor explained that NTID offered architecture on the associate's level only. And RIT didn't offer architecture. But RIT had a program called Civil Engineering Technology. The counselor explained that there was drawing involved and compared civil engineering technology with architecture. As the counselor explained everything, the civil engineering technology major had most of the things seemed to fit who I was. There were some new things, but I thought I'd give it a try. It took me about 4 years. And then, of course, RIT required the co-op. Co-ops were a great opportunity that I took full advantage of. The different co-ops really helped me to grow and to shape me into the professional that I've become. My esteem really bloomed at that time. So my educational path started off in history, then on to architecture, and finally ended up in engineering. I've been working for the Department of Transportation for 14 years. I was first hired as a junior engineer. The junior engineer position required that within 1 to 2 years, you have your PE or Professional Engineer's License. The PE exam has two parts, Part A and Part B. If you were to take Part A and pass, you'd be promoted immediately. However, if you choose not to take Part A or didn't pass Part A, then you'd be demoted and moved to a different job title. I sat for Part A exam and I failed it the first time. I had learned the content in college, but I took the exam years later. I had forgotten much of the detailed information that I needed for the exam. I graduated in 1996, and I sat for the exam in 2000. So 4 years had passed. When I had learned that I failed on my first attempt, I committed myself to studying for it. I retook the exam and passed it. I was not only relieved, but promoted to a civil engineer. When I was hired, there was another deaf person who worked here, and I always depended on his knowledge and experience. He was a safe person for me to ask questions from, and he was a positive influence on me. Another positive influence has been my teaching of basic sign and a little deaf culture to my colleagues. Most important is patience. I love it when my coworkers are patient. Sometimes I'll see other work groups where they're not exhibiting patience, and although I know I could work with them, I'm happy that I'm working in the squad that I am. I enjoy my current position, where I'm doing a lot of design work. Of course, in my current position, I'm still required to produce reports and communicate on the job, and everything I've learned at NTIDRIT applies to what I do. My advice would be that it's important to have good self-esteem. If you're being discriminated against, recognize it for what it is and move on. Don't take people seriously. Keep your esteem intact. If the person is trying to be argumentative, maybe if it's a hearing person looking down at you as a deaf person, try to understand where they're coming from. Later in an email, if it's appropriate, you can explain to them your point of view. Very important to have good self-esteem. That'll get you through it. I'm the only deaf person at my workplace now, and so it's challenging. Before, when I had deaf colleagues, I had people to interact with who understood my experience. Now, interacting with my hearing colleagues, I can interact with them, but the self-esteem gets me through it. And also, having a positive attitude. You have your down days, but you do have to be optimistic and positive. That'll help you through your workday.